You're watching Swipe, coming up on this week's show.
Thanks very much.
Tech versus food waste. Meet the people using apps to find a home for unwanted meals. I sit down for a chat with the man in charge of your experience on Facebook. And we return to Rapture and Columbia with Bioshock the Collection in our games review. Welcome to Swipe. This week we've come to Brighton to talk about food. Remember when your mum used to tell you never to waste it? Well, it turns out most of us still do. In fact, the average UK household spends around £40 a month just feeding the rubbish bin with food that's perfectly fine. But could technology help solve that problem? Stu's been meeting the people who think it can.
This plate of sushi in a Brighton restaurant could be destined for the bin. It's part of the unavoidable food waste caused by rules and regulations that force eateries to throw out food. But this plate can go a different way. A new app called Too Good To Go lets restaurants and cafes sell the food at a reduced price.
In the UK alone, 600,000 tonnes of food each year is thrown away by the restaurant industry, so our app is an attempt to try and bring that number down to zero. And that's resulted in 60,000 people downloading the app in 12 weeks and rescuing over 3,500 meals from going to landfill.
The app's live in several UK cities. Brighton was one of the first.
It's good quality food that would have been thrown away, and we're able to sell it at a discounted rate. So selling it at a discounted rate doesn't necessarily mean we're losing or making any money. It's just that difference from actually throwing it in the bin. So it works.
The app makers say everybody wins. The food gets eaten, the restaurant gets to make a little money on something that was heading to the bin, and the customer gets a cheap meal.
The money-saving element is good, but the fact that you can reduce food waste and get fed at the same time is win-win.
Hello.
Hi, Joe.
How are you?
In London, I meet Annabelle and Joe. They've become friends through Olio, another anti-food waste app that's aimed at individuals rather than restaurants. Say you're going on holiday and have perfectly good food that's going to go off. Olio connects you with people nearby who might want it.
I had so much excess, so I think it was bags of peppers and...
There were some peppers at one point, and there was some feta. That might have been later, though.
Yes, I remember the feta.
There was a nice little packet of feta that was delicious.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, it was opened feta as well, wasn't it? It wasn't all nicely
just
packaged.
Wrapped it up and then I had it for dinner that night. It was great. Yeah.
Apps like these might not be for everyone. With Too Good To Go, you need to be willing to sometimes eat off-peak when the eateries are throwing away their food. And with Olio, you might not trust food that's already been opened or has been made by someone else.
Anyone can share their spare food with people nearby.
But you don't have to take anything. You still have control, and you could pick up something good while making a small contribution to the fight against food waste.
Every time you open a door to someone coming to collect food from you, or you go and collect food from your neighbour, there's the whole gamut in terms of age, income, ethnicity, etc. So it's just a fantastic way to meet very diverse people in your community that you might not otherwise come into contact with.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Enjoy the cheese.
Thanks very much.
So the next time you're about to throw away food, just think it could make someone else very happy. Stuart Duggan, Sky News.
Stay with us. Still to come, I'll be meeting the Facebook chief who helped make it possible for you to see what your friends and family are up to. That's coming right up after a roundup of this week's tech news. This is the first time a piloted solar-powered helicopter has ever flown. The massive Gamera aircraft was built by students at the University of Maryland. There's still a way for the technology to go, though, as it only flew about a foot off the ground for 9 seconds. Wearable fitness trackers might not be the answer to getting in shape. A study in the US has found people using the wearables actually lost less weight than those who didn't use them. Those with the trackers managed to shed an average of 3.5 kilos over 2 years, while those without lost 5.9 kilos. And you won't be able to play as Iceland in FIFA 17 after the team rejected an offer from the makers of the game. Electronic Arts offered just over £13,000 for the country to feature, but the Icelandic Football Association accused EA of showing a lack of respect given their sensational quarter-final finish in Euro 2016.
Fight the friction.
There's more sports gaming coming up. Stick around for our games review, including NBA 2K17. But first. Now, you might have heard this month marks 10 years since Facebook's newsfeed became a thing. And let's face it, without that constant stream of updates from friends, family and news outlets, Facebook just wouldn't feel like Facebook. But it actually got off to a pretty rocky beginning. And when we heard that one of the original team to launch newsfeed was in the UK recently, we couldn't help but line up a chat with him about the 10-year anniversary.
In 2005, this is what the homepage of Facebook looked like, if you remember. Were you on Facebook in 2005?
Yeah, I was actually.
The Facebook?
Pretty bare.
It was a college directory only, and the idea was to update the homepage to make it easier for people to see what was going on with their friends. And we worked on it for about 9 months, and this is what the very first newsfeed looked like. There were no like buttons, there was no comments. There were very few photos because people weren't carrying around mobile phones. But we were very excited about it, and we got ready to roll it out, and we hit go, and we waited for the feedback to roll in. This is in September of 2006, and the feedback was really negative. We eventually got an alert from the security team just about an hour later that there was a protest gathering in front of our office. The next morning, we spent a bunch of time changing the product to communicate better exactly how everything worked. People learned how to use it, and they liked it.
Have there been any favorite moments for you over the past decade?
There was a young man in Colombia named Oscar Morales Guevara who decided that he wanted to organize a march to protest the FARC, the guerrilla sort of violent group in Colombia. And so he started this free Facebook group, which was to gather people around and march on this one day. And eventually, on the day of the march, 14 million people on one day, all around the world, marched in support of a cause that he had organized with no marketing background, with no budget. He just cared about it. Another one would be the Ice Bucket Challenge.
You have 24 hours to do this, or you have to donate $100. All right, here we go.
We had just updated feed so that when you scrolled through it, the videos would play automatically. Right after that, the Ice Bucket Challenge began to spread and go viral. There were over 15 million people that uploaded videos. Over 440 million people watched them. There were over 10 billion impressions. And it raised over $115 million for the cause of ALS, which eventually led to a breakthrough that let them associate a gene with the disease.
How much control does Facebook actually have over what we see in our news feeds?
So the vast majority of what people see is about who they connect with. That's what determines the vast majority of what you see.
So why do certain friends' posts pop up first and then some other friends I never see what they're up to?
So for both Facebook and Instagram, there's this problem, which is there's way more stuff than most people can read, and that's why we rank things so that people can get the best stuff on top.
Do you have any sympathy for people who criticize Facebook for not policing enough? And I'm talking about child protection issues or bullying or criminal gangs.
We take those issues very, very, very seriously. For each of those kinds of issues, we'll have a team that's dedicated to understanding, to working with local charities and government organizations, and then to building tools that let the community report when something's going wrong and let us take it down immediately.
And so what's in store for the next 10 years? What will newsfeed look like in a decade's time?
The next big thing is going to be a shift towards more video and more immersive storytelling and more immersive formats. As of recently, if you upload a panoramic photo to Facebook, it will show up as a photo that you can turn around in your hands and explore and look around.
Oh, really? What, with your phone?
Yeah.
You don't need to be wearing a headset?
Yeah, so if you're ever in a panoramic view, if you're having a wonderful moment on the beach, you can take a panoramic photo with your phone and upload it, and you'll see it presented in such a way that you can explore it.
Now it's time for this week's Games Review, featuring Batman, basketball and Bioshock. And if you ever played the original Bioshock, you'll know what I mean when I say, would you kindly listen to Lucy?
Bioshock is an incredibly revered game amongst gamers, and now it's been remastered for the brand new consoles. So Bioshock the Collection actually features Bioshock 1, 2 and Bioshock Infinite, and they've all been made to look super lovely. It's full of moral ambiguities and genetic modification and hard moral choices. If you've never played Bioshock before, this is the perfect chance, the perfect time to jump in, as they're on the new consoles and you can get it all in one. If you have played Bioshock before, it's also a great chance to jump in. All the DLCs included. The only thing that they don't have is the multiplayer from Bioshock 2, which is a shame, but there's still plenty of great gameplay in there for you. If you're a basketball fan, you definitely know of 2K's famed series NBA. So the latest iteration, NBA 2K17, 1 year ahead, is the latest in the long-running franchise, and there's various ways to play. So there's the My Career mode. There's a lot of fun to be had there because you can create your own basketball player and take them through from the little leagues all the way up to the big leagues, and you can have a lot of fun by scanning your own face in with varying degrees of hilarity and quality there, but it's a lot of fun. If you're a basketball fan, old or new, there's plenty you're going to love in this game. So there's all the big famous teams. If you're a European, there are EuroLeague teams in there. There's the American Olympic team. And there's also commentary from famous commentators and even Shaquille O'Neal. So what's not to love? The latest episode in Telltale's Batman series is finally here. It's called Children of Arkham. You get to play as both Bruce Wayne and Batman, both in they both play very differently. So as you're playing as Bruce Wayne, you're trying to help your friend Harvey Dent win the mayoral election. So you have to make all these tough decisions. But then you also play as Batman. So Batman is, of course, an incredible detective. So you can wander into crime scenes, and you basically use all the incredible bat technology that you have at your disposal to try and piece together exactly what happened. But it does shine a new light on some of the villains. Some people appear in that game who are a little bit different to how we normally perceive them. So if you're a Batman fan, or if you're just a casual fan, I would definitely recommend picking up Batman, the Telltale series.
Time to save the city.
Well, that's it from us here in Brighton this week. But if you ever miss an episode of Swipe, you can always watch it on our YouTube playlist. Just type in Sky News Swipe. And you can stay up to date with all the latest tech stories throughout the week by taking a look at Sky News on mobile, tablet, catch-up, SkyCube and Snapchat. I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.